Chautauqua very late. It's English a half length in front. Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying. Yes, there's history. Chautauqua makes it 3 in a row.
G'day and welcome back, punters, to episode 4 of the Pure Punters podcast. I'm Jared Smith, again joined with Mitch Cook. And after a great weekend of sport, we're here to recap the week, see what this week will bring, and hopefully find more winners than what I did last week. Mitchy boy, good to have you back again, mate.
Yeah, mate. You can't really get rid of me just yet. I'm the only one keeping this potty afloat at this stage, so
yeah,
good to be back, and I'll keep bringing the punters some money.
I was looking for Noah and his ark on the weekend because I was sinking quicker than a ship. But look, let's get into the week that was. AFL Grand Final off the bat. Congratulations there to Melbourne. Bit of a tight game in the middle there, but the D's just ended up running away with it in the end a bit.
Yeah, mate. Cracking game. Melbourne kicked away pretty early in the game. Thought it was going to be one of them games where all the hype to it and then Melbourne just whitewash. Fast forward a quarter or two and it looked the opposite. The Dogs had them on the ropes. And then, yeah, Melbourne snagged a couple just before the end of the third quarter and just never looked back from there. And the scoreline doesn't reflect how good of a game that was for 3 quarters. Like, phenomenal game. Fritsch, Petrarca, unreal. Yeah, it was one of the better grand finals I've watched, mate. It was good to watch.
Yeah, look, it was good to see him finally break that drought too. I know it's been a long time there for the D's faithful, but look, the flag's finally home, so hang it up and get ready for another year. I think Max Gawn's still wearing his grand final boots on the bender. I still don't think he's unlaced those. So let's look out for those on eBay once he runs short of a bit of funds from a nightclub in Perth.
Yeah, he's having a good old time, isn't he? Pretty jealous of the bloke.
Mate, what I'd do to not be in lockdown and be able to stand in football boots at a pub. But look, we had 2 really good semi-finals as well in the NRL. Neither result I could manage there. We had Penrith just get the wood over Melbourne. That was just a really hard-fought defensive game. Do you think Melbourne can come through? Penrith can come through after that game against Melbourne and back it up this week?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about if Penrith are going to be a bit beat up and sore, tired bodies, but I'm not buying into it. You train all pre-season, you put your bodies on the line all season. It's one more game. They'll be up for this. It's grand final, as everyone knows. We'll touch on that when we get into it, mate, but I don't think the best players in the country are going to be worried about a couple of hit-ups for 2 weeks in a row after playing a 28-week season so far, or however many weeks it's been. So, yeah.
No, exactly. And Alex Johnson there got your bet of the weekend home in the South game as try scorer. So
nice and early too.
Yeah, exactly. Not a bad little profit weekend for you, hey? What did we end up for the week for you?
Yeah, mate. For the week, ended up 5.06 units. Takes my total to 6.27. Fluke's 50. We got 2 out of 3 legs again. Someone let us down. And, mate, to celebrate your week, I couldn't quite write it down. I couldn't find anything. But I did manage to find a nice donut for you, mate. just how many results you got right last week. I've never seen a man colder on a Saturday before. The phone's turned off. I didn't hear from you after about the 4th race. So,
look, it started at Scone on the Friday, and I was bled dry by Saturday afternoon. There was nothing there. I could not hit a thing. But look, we had some really good racing as well. Moonee Valley was good to see back under lights. The track, even though there was that bit of wind, the track seemed to play pretty fair. Congratulations to Wild Ruler taking out the Moir. Booked its slot now in the Everest. So I know you were on Wild Ruler personally, but had it in a Quinella for the podcast. What did you see that race there?
Yeah. Pre-start of the meeting, obviously we all had Probably leading the entire way.
Yep.
Sorry, that's the one. About probably 4 races in, I think I text you saying this is going to be very tough to do with the headwinds coming down that straight. It's just everything in that night leading up to that race couldn't have went more against it. Started to get a little bit worried about me Quinella, but the more worried I got about that Quinella the more confidence I gained in Wild Ruler, because every single factor for that race, mate, just played right into its hands. And I had to have a little dabble myself. It blew out to 11 in the end. I have no idea how it blew out when everything was leading towards it, but I'm not going to complain. The Inferno gained huge respect, massive run. Thought it had Wild Ruler done, and then Wild Ruler just kicked again. So Trekking was in a tough spot, continues to fight to the line. Was never really a winning threat, but man, the horse just knows how to be in that finish, doesn't it? So
Yeah, Godolphin breed class, and Trekking, he hasn't won, bloody hell, since I've been to a pub, really, which feels like forever. But yeah, James Cummings and the crew there know how to get him to keep him up for that long time. And I think the big boy's just about earned a break in the paddock forever. But look, yeah, Profiteer just couldn't get to cross and lead there, which I think hampered it to start. Had to sit outside Ballistic Lover, I think, which hurt it. But I think the Inferno is the one I want to watch out of that race over the 1200 next up in the Everest. I think the Singapore Slinger will be back at it. But look, back to Rose Hill, we had absolute shit show for myself again. Golden Pendant. Look, I'm not going to blame James McDonald for all my losses, but I'm going to blame him for a couple. And I think
I heard you blame him for most of them.
I'm trying to find someone to blame because myself, I just could not keep putting it on. But I think the ride on Trivier was fair. Look, it was playing towards the rail and the lead, which Rosehill can do sometimes. But I think Vangelic, Tim Clark had a really hot day. I think the better horse on the day did win, but I'd like to see him go up against it again. Yourself?
Yep. Yeah, not ideal, I guess, news coming out a couple of hours before jump that Trivier was in season. Can be good, can be bad, can not mean a thing, as we know. I don't think it really affected the race. I didn't see anything from her in the yard or in the run that showing she was different. I do agree with you. I think J-Mac did get into a tricky position and never got out. The one I've got to follow, well, not follow, because as you know, I've been following it for a long time, but the one that caught my eye again was Ice Bath. Every single factor was playing against it. Patna Day was against it. And it was one of the two horses that actually made solid ground on that track and put itself in the finish. I think it finished fourth in the end, maybe, which probably helped keep its odds down a bit for this week. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed by Ice Bath. Nimalee, I was on. No excuses, just wasn't at its best. Maybe a run short, might peak next run. I will probably have another look next jump. Yeah, that's about it for me, mate. Vangelic just led and nothing could catch it.
Yeah, there's nothing I'd really pot out of that race either. And Ice Bath obviously backs up again this week. I think was strong to the finish there. It come home the best of probably all the horses, to be honest. And I think, I'm not going to say it was unlucky, but I think it's one to definitely watch. Luckily, we don't have to wait too long to watch her run around again. Then we go, the old Golden Rose. Look, everyone sort of had Animo, sat around that $2 mark all week. But it was the other horse, Into the Congo. Waterhouse Bot just had a bit of a field day. No matter if it was Sydney or Melbourne, what they touched sort of turned to gold last week, and the stable's flying. Timmy Clark again. So just, I think the same thing as what we just said, stuck to the rail and was that on-pace runner. Just sort of proved too hard to catch for those back markers like Animo that settled back a little bit worse than midfield.
What were your thoughts on Artorias for that one, mate? So I thought it showed pretty decent signs again. Seems to be the races we don't count it in fully, but
no, look,
show something.
I had Artorias to place, and we know I was pretty cocky about that. I think when he did come out around that 250 mark, he sort of had to change direction really quick. He stormed home. I think he ran pretty good last 200 sectional. I'm not going to say no, I'll never back him again, but he's sort of now, he's cost more than what he's sort of putting out when he's still running around at that $2 or shorter mark in Melbourne coming up to these Sydney races. I thought at the $10 he was good to back and $2.60 a place, but I'm sort of leaning towards staying away from Artorias. Yourself?
Yeah, I'd just like to see him raced a bit further upfield, if I'm honest. I don't want him to lead. I don't want him to be in that front pack, but I don't see the need to keep him off pace so far back. He shows good signs flashing late, but just that 2 or 3 positions further up out the gates, and I think he'll be in a lot more position to actually get a finish. So I didn't tip anything on that race. I actually ended up getting on in the Congo with a little very small stake just before jumps. Similar reason to Vangelic, just that leader bias. It looked like it was going to map well. Would never have tipped it. It wasn't anywhere near a big bet, just how the track played. And sometimes you can do all the study you want, but if the track's not playing right, then you got no chance, do you?
Yeah, I think there's a few questionable jockey decisions, we'll call it, throughout the day. With obviously the track was playing a slight bias to that leader rail, and there was a few that did try and take that sit near the rear and try and come wide, but they just made no ground. And I think McDonald should have learned his lesson after Paul Lely, but then sort of settled on Trivia probably a pair or two back from where she sat last start when she did win. But look, no excuses. We move into this week. We've still got a pretty good race card. We're down in Flemington for the Turnbull. Very Elegant comes up against Incentivize. Some part owners in Very Elegant, also part own Incentivize. So that's an interesting one. I was shocked to see, though, Very Elegant did not start favourite. Incentivize come up favourite, I think, around that 230 mark. He's now blown out to around 260, and Very Elegant Swear, I think, as a 9-time Group 1 winner, she belongs at $2.30. Still a pretty open market, though, with Explosive Jack, last year's Derby King. He's second up now. Persan, still on that Cups path, has been pretty disappointing, I've thought, in these past couple of starts, this preparation. But I'm going to stick with Very Elegant. I think the mongrel in her, and I know the word champion's thrown around a bit, and like I call myself a bit of a champion after a Saturday night down at the Royal, but I think Very Elegant's on that way to being a horse that's remembered over a long period of time. Incentivized, sort of still that new kid on the block. Very Elegant's just going to have that grunt, I think. And I've been on Very Elegant for the Turnbull. I had it at $4.80, I think, 3 weeks ago. And I was shocked when she didn't start favourite in this race. So I'm going to have 3 units on Very Elegant. I know I've done a lot of talking about this race, and you haven't been able to catch a breath in. But I'm really passionate here about Very Elegant. I think Incentivize, it's more of a hype around the horse, where I think Very Elegant's class will prevail. She's a 9-time Group 1 winner. She's proven at the Turnbull. She's won it before. I just can't see any way around her. Damien Lane's on, senior job. Everything points to me for Very Elegant. I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face, but I'm just going to have 3 units on Very Elegant at 230, and I'm finally going to let you speak a word and me catch my breath, because I'm just done there.
No, you've summed it up, mate. I'm actually not going to have a single bet in this race. One of the ones I'm happy to sit back and just watch what Incentivize does. I think that Very Elegant will tag it. I think it'll come out behind and leave it to that last kind of 200 and maybe pull it inside again and run past Incentivize. We know that she loves chasing. She loves that last kind of 100 or so. Could be a bit of a money in your mouth kind of situation, I guess, coming down, Incentivize leading, and you're just hoping she chases it down, but she's proven she can do it. No bet for me in that one, mate, but I will have Elegant in a multi later on that I'll get to.
Yeah, nice. That's the only one I'm sort of really going to have a look at Flemington. I know you're not too keen on many others there. So we move back up to big Sydney town. I like the Flight Stakes. Like most of the horses in this have been up 3-4 runs this prep. Some really quality last year 2-year-olds now they've made the transition, it's fair to say, to be a solid 3-year-old. I thought Rob Heathcote's horse, Startontes, was really good last week. I know they paid the 37 grand to run her in the race. No, not good enough for you. I know you were on it, but I thought it was still a very solid run for against the track bias, and they've paid up again for this week's Flight Stakes. How do you see this race going down, mate?
Yeah, tough race. I have ended up on 4 moves ahead. Pretty big fan of the horse. Not sure how I feel about Nash getting booked for the ride, but had a good win last start over the 1400. Last start, it was a good run. It wasn't anything special, but it got the job done, which sometimes means more than the ones that they do shit it in. Distance is a query, stepping up to the 1600. I just like the form lines coming in. I like the horse. I don't have much more to give you other than just it is. It's one of them horses I just have a soft spot for. It never really does anything wrong. It just hopefully does that last little bit right. Just a small bet for me, mate. I'm gonna have a half a unit on it with, yeah, I think it was $5. Half a unit, $5.
Yeah, look, I think the thing with Nash and the Sargent stable is his rotor consistently. Last start, yeah, did get the win. The start before was a questionable ride. So I would have found it fair if, yeah, maybe they did pot him. But I think he sort of redeemed himself with the win last start. I'm actually going to go with a horse out of that same race. Actually comes second on protest. I think Swift Witness was demoted to third. I'm going to go with Mallory. I think the step up in distance, she's just going to eat it up. And at $5, I think it's too juicy to pass up. Sort of a horse more on the up of the prep, where I think this may be 4 moves ahead grand final. But I think at $5, like they're very similar in the market together. So I'm going to have 2 units on Mallory at $5 and maybe a little sneaky carton with you head to head on that one. But we'll see how we roll into the weekend.
You've given me a carton, mate. Smithy's dry lager.
Look, a glass of Smithy's dry lager in your hand there, mate. Look,
they've said you've been a busy man, and now I can see why.
Mate, exactly. Hey, all this restaurant opening stuff. It's all fake. I'm just starting a brewery. So, start a podcast and starting a brewery. I think if I'm in my 20s, there's nothing more cliche that I could do at the moment. So, I'm just trying to put a tick in every box, and hopefully someone will bounce off it. But look, we go to the Epsom. A really great race every year. Like we know, Colding had it in 2019. Last year, even though there was no crowd still. Look, I may have lost a little bit of the shine last year because we weren't all around it. But we've got Riadini, Private Eye, Tissue, Mwanga, Your Girl Ice Bar, all in there. I think Riadini's just had 2 absolute gut busters. I think sort of the end of the prep there after both starts leading out by a long way and just not dropping tempo. I think Riadini, yes, it's sort of sitting around that favoritism line. But I'm going to steer clear. I think a Tissue was rode well last start to get the win after being way too far back 2 starts ago. Quality Kiwi horse there for Waller. But I think it's going to come between Mwanga and Private Eye. I know I've been on Private Eye past 2 runs and it's let me down. But I think Mwanga's last start in that incentivized race was really good. I think just the tempo sort of was a bit muddled, which didn't really suit him, but he did come charging within a length there to run second. But I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to stick with Private Eye because I know the week that I get off will be the week that salutes. But I'm just going to play the place. I think $2.60 is a really fair place bet. I think if we get this rain that's predicted in Sydney as well, that it sort of only increases my little love there for Private Eye, you could say. So I'm gonna have a quite good bet. I'm gonna have 5 units, $2.60. Don't break the bank just yet, but I'm quietly confident here that at least it can run a hole. Tell me you're going something else.
I am, mate. Mainly I am. I can't fault what you said. You know, I'm a big fan of Private Eye as well. I don't think the last 2 runs have done it justice. We've touched on that in the recaps. Ice Bath, I can never back against. We're back at Randwick. We all know we've got, I think, 2 days of rain forecasted. Even if it rains for 20 minutes, it's going to get to a soft, probably heavy track by the time they jump. Ice Bath eats that up. I'm not confident picking a winner here. I just can't seem to find it. But Ice Bath, $3.40 for a place on 365. I just can't steer away from that. So I'm just going to have a unit on the place, mate. $3.40 for ice bath, and then I'm going to have a half unit boxed try with the three
Oh,
horses.
stop it.
The three horses we've touched on, mate. Mo'unga, Private Eye, and Ice Bath. I agree.
Yeah,
I don't
nice.
think Riadini's in this one. I think it'll probably lead or go close to it. I think around that 200 meter mark, we'll see it get swamped and just run out of legs end of the season for it. So
Yeah,
that's me, mate.
I'm with you there. I think Ria Dean's been really consistent, and has been a really good money earner to connections this prep. Group 1 place. I think it comes into this race with really good form lines, and I think that's why it's so short in the market. But I think it's definitely well and truly way too short, especially after 2 absolute gut busters. And I'm just going to stick with not so much the class of Private Eye, but I think the consistency that can be delivered, and especially if we get that rain, I'm just going to be a lot more happier there. But look, we've also got the big one, the Metropolitan, for the stayers. We've got She's Ideal, last start winner. We've got Entente, who's racing 3 times in the past 3 weeks for the Waterhouse stable, who are absolutely flying. Montefilia, who you can make a case for in her last 2 starts as well. I'm going to let you lead us into this one because I'm not completely sold on the race. So I just want to hear how you've got it running.
Well, I'm probably not going to help you, mate. I could not settle on anything at short odds. Don't get me wrong, it'll probably be the favourites that are fighting out. You know I love Montefilia. She's been great. I've ended up... I'm not going to have a bet on this race, mate. The only thing that caught my eye at solid odds was Quick Thinker. 1 of 1 over the track and distance. It's going to be ridden on pace, which that late in the day at Randwick, that's something I want. I don't want anything in that back half of the field. So if it comes at a day, I might have a little play on Quick Thinker. I think it's around the $26 mark at this stage. So might have a little one, but yeah, I'm going to sit this out for official tipping, mate.
Yeah, I'm a degenerate. We all know it. I'm going to have a bet. You don't even have to ask. I think the thing I see with it is level 3 of David Jones Car Park is more or less where all the favoured runners in the field have drawn. They are miles and miles away from anywhere you want to be. I'm down at EB Games, and I don't want to have to travel all that way. I'm going to stick with Entente. I think the Waterhouse stable at the moment are flying. It's got the advantage of drawing Plum in Barrier 4. Will sit on speed like we've touched on, which we think will be key towards that later part of the card. Has really good form lines and has been up over the distance. And last week could have been the grand final, but I just think Entente's been a really good horse over its time, like country cups, things like that. I think Gay wouldn't be running the horse if she didn't think it still had a fighting chance. So I'm going to have 2 units on Entente. $6, I think, is a good backable price for that. But it's not with great confidence. It's more the old saying that trainers say barriers win races. I'm going to sort of stick along those lines with this. It has drawn Plum in 4. Timmy Clark, great front running rider. I'm just going to have 2 units, and I think at $6, it's sort of a little bit too hard to pass up.
Yeah, can't fault that, mate. If you're going to have someone to lead to, Timmy Clark's who you want up there. He's not afraid to hold them reins and just go for it. So.
No, exactly. And he's built a really good relationship too with Gay and Adrian Stable. So I think it'd be a bit of a team decision there to run the horse. And I think if any of them had a query, they wouldn't run it. So that's the reasoning with my bet. But other than that, I don't know if we can even call it a best bet this week after my last week. But I've gone back to my green grass to start with. I'm going back to Queensland. But what hurts me is I'm back in a non-winner. So we're going to Doomben Race 8. We're back in Space Boy. Space Boy's been in 3 states in as many months. Look, you can pot him as a non-winner. I think most of his runs this prep have been really solid. I think finds a weaker race here up in Queensland. At $3.70, I think is still overs. I think around that 350 mark is where I marked him in the race. I'm going to have 6 units at 370. And that's sort of my road to redemption start. I think if Space Boy can get me there, won't be Space Boy, I'll be Rocket Man. So, look, we see how we go, but I'm fairly confident we can get ourselves back on track this week. And I'm going to put my nuts on the line there with 6 units at 370.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, grand final week this week, NRL. Couldn't have scripted it any better. Wayne Bennett's last game at South. We've got our father son at Penrith. We've got, mate, if you wanted to write a bloody movie, you could write about 3 out of this grand final. Benji Marshall, I know you're waiting for me to say it. There's that many scripts here that I could write. I could bloody sit in front of my computer all day. But who have you got? Why have you got them? Where are we going?
It hurts me to go against Benji, mate. It really does. I never wish injury upon a player, but if Reynolds' groin doesn't hold up and Benji gets to play 70 minutes, I'll be a happy man. And I'll probably be happy to lose most of my bets this weekend if Benji takes Rabbits to a win. I'm going Penrith. No surprises. They've won 4 of the last 5 games between the two. An average margin of 15 in them 5 games. They're a stronger team. They are. Overall, if Latrell was playing, I know he's a controversial player, but I absolutely love Latrell. He brings the mongrel to the game that I miss. Like
polarizing, for use of a better word.
Yeah, we'll take that. All right. So I'm going to have 3 units on Penrith minus 3.5, mate, at $2 on Neds. I think if they win, they're going to win by a try. Doesn't have to be converted. That 3.5 line is just a very tempting line. My second bet, I have 3 bets in this game. So we're going all out. It's a grand final. Why not? So I've got 3 units on minus 3.5 at $2. Second bet, I'm going to take the under 37.5. It did open at 38.5, but doing this potty late in the week, I'm not going to take early lines and tip the punters' lines they can't get on. So we take under 37.5. The average over the last 5 games between these two teams is 39.8. So it's leaning towards overs on an average. However, only one of them 5 games has gone over, and that was a 68-point game. So that blows that average out quite a bit. So 4 of the last 5 have gone unders. 4 of the last 5 grand finals have gone under this line as well. I just think it'll be a tight game. I've got Penrith around 18-10. It's going to be real tight. As we've seen in the last few weeks, Penrith are built on defense. So 3 units on Penrith. 3 units on Penrith minus 3.5 at $2. And I'm going to have 3 units on under 37.5 at $1.90. I'm going to finish off. We all know the degenerates love a little same game multi, so I'm going to give that to them. And I have half a unit, mate, on Penrith to win, under 37.5, Toto anytime, and Souths plus 21.5. We're getting $7.34 on Neds for that one.
Yeah,
right. And my 3 bets for the game, mate.
So you've had half a unit on a bloody trifecta, but we've gone bloody the whole spread there on a grand final. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Exactly, mate. That's it. I've got to spread my units out where I know I can get some winners.
When you spell degenerate, you start it with MITCH. So, look, I'm going to roll with it. I'm actually going to go against you. Surprise. I think South can win. I know Penrith, they are the best defensive side in the comp, full stop. There's no way. Them and Melbourne, there's no way around it. Last week, their game was a game for the ages. There's no words for that game. But I think I'm sort of away from the stats. I'm going with sort of the experience side of it. So I'm looking at more of the last time South played Penrith, Wayne Bennett just absolutely fucked Ivan Cleary in the ear. It was game, set, match before they kicked the ball off. And I think it's not to the same extent, but the media are going to try and play it up. But I think Ivan's going to be a lot smarter about it this time around. I think if South are to win, Adam Reynolds needs to be as close to 100% as he can be. I think the battle of the forwards is going to be an absolute bloodbath between both sides, and that is what I'm looking forward to. That is textbook football, textbook of rugby league, as our great mate Peter Volandis would say. But I'm going to stick here with South to win. I don't think there'll be much in it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it went to Golden Point. But I'm going to stick here with South to win and Alex Johnson to score a try. I think if Souths are going to score, it's going to be either Damien Cook through the middle or from out wide on their little men. I'm going to take AJ to score and Souths to win at $3.40 for 2 units. So I think if I'm going to try and redeem myself this week, I can't be pussyfooting around 1 unit here, half a unit there. I'm putting it where it stands. I'm going to have 2 units on that. But honestly, I'm just ready to kick up the feet and watch some average halftime entertainment, probably from Shepherd or some Anastasia Palaszczuk tribute band, because let's be honest, there hasn't been a good track record with Queensland and entertainment. They can't do much other
than the Veronicas come back.
Oh, mate, we could have that. Mate, the Veronicas, they wouldn't fit Mad Monday costumes. That's what I'd say a few of the boys would be wearing them as. But I think the spectacles will be on the field. It's been a great year for rugby league. The Cheese and the Munster gave us a little bit of a teaser of what they're all going to be getting up to with no restrictions in Queensland. I think congratulations to Tommy Turbo go as well for Dally M. Dally M with the least amount of games played in history as well, which is a bit of a feat in its own. But I think Sunday night is going to be a great game between two sides that honestly deserve to be there. Outside of Melbourne, there isn't anyone else I'd rather watch playing it than South and Penrith. And I think it's going to be a game for the people. And if old mate Bernie Sutton, I think, has got the game, if he can, or Jared Sutton, if he can keep his whistle in his pocket, the world will be a lot better place and the fans will really get into it. But look, I'm looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it. But I also know you're looking forward to a bit of EPL again. We had a little bit of success on the weekend. What do you got for the guys this week over in England?
Yeah, pretty good weekend, mate. I'm glad I stayed away from that City game. Although City did get the 1-0 win, always happy with that. It was, as expected, a very defensive, kind of boring game to watch. After a full day of sport, I may or may not have dozed off at halftime. But we're going to go to Leeds versus Watford to start, mate. We're going to take both teams to score at $1.70 for 2 units. Both teams are averaging well above a goal, both for and against this year. And 5 out of the last 6 between these two in league matches, both teams have scored a goal. Stats-wise, they're just both... I don't trust neither of them defensively. I do trust Watford to keep a clean sheet if they're at home, but Leeds at home should snag a goal, and I don't trust them to keep a clean sheet whatsoever. It's going to have 2 units there, and I'm going to have a little 3-unit multi, mate. Sorry, 2 unit. I'm going to have 2 units on United versus Everton over 1.5 goals, Leeds versus Watford over 1.5 goals, and Brighton versus Arsenal second half under 2.5 goals. I'm going to have 2 units on that at $1.95 on Neds. And then to round the EPL out, mate, another 2-unit bet. We've got City versus Liverpool. The week for City this week, we've gone from Chelsea to PSG to Liverpool. Which has been a tough week, but they were one of 2 at this stage. So hopefully we can get at least a point away at Liverpool. I'm going to take a Bet365 bet builder. City versus Liverpool, both teams to score and both teams to receive a card at least. So it's usually a pretty fiery game. Tight, defensive. I do think it'll be around that 1-1, 2-1 kind of mark. But they're rewarding us with the prices for something that should happen. $2.20 on 365. I'm going to have 2 units on that, mate. And that rounds out my EPL bets for the weekend.
Look, have we got any sugarcane, champagne, boxing, UFC? What do you got for me in the world of old mixed martial arts?
We do, mate. Cracking week last week. Went 4 from 4 for tips, and all around the fights were just unreal. I don't think we've lost a tip on the potty yet other than picking a round for UFC. Straight up, we're going to have 2 units on Jamie Malarkey at $2.30 on 365 against Devontae Smith. Malarkey, Sunny Coast lad, chin of iron. He's a tough dude. Fights out of Magnus MMA, which isn't the most respected gym. I think it's in Wyong or Gosford, something like that. Like, it's nothing compared to these elite ones. However, he's just spent the entire champ camp with Volkanovski in Wingdang. That's the one. Got me a little mind spinning there. Training for, I think it was an 8-week camp with a world champion who's just put on a performance like that. That's inspiring. You're getting reps in with someone well above your skill level. I just think that's going to be too beneficial for Malarkey. His last win was over Karma Worthy, who Karma Worthy KO'd Devontae Smith himself. And somehow, I know MMA math does not work out, but somehow we have Devontae as a favourite here against Malarkey. He lost on a decision, which shouldn't have happened. Don't get me started on that one. His last 2 real losses, he lost to Blake Riddell and Alex Volkanovski. So 2 fantastic losses to have on your record. $2.30. I can't see why he's the underdog. I'm going to take Jamie Malarkey for 2 units. My next single is going to be women's flyweight bout between the worst Shevchenko of the 3 sisters, Antonia, versus Casey O'Neill, the Australian.
How would you like to go
O'Neill
home for dinner there to meet the old dad if the 3 sisters are bloody UFC fighters?
Well, I hope that I was with her because she's probably the only one that I'd have a chance against. Casey O'Neill is fighting out of Extreme Couture and Tiger Muay Thai. Her dad's an ex-world Muay Thai champion. Striking is phenomenal. Shevchenko is only there because of a name. She's not great. She's had some rough losses in her career. I think O'Neill's going to drop her pretty early in this one, first or second round. I don't think she'll knock her out cold. That doesn't really happen in women's flyweight. But once she's down there, O'Neill has a phenomenal ground game. She has 2 of her last 7 fights she's won by submission. One of Shevchenko's last 3 losses has been by submission. It's there for the taking. They're giving us $5 on Sportsbet. I'm going to take a 1 unit on Casey O'Neill by submission at $5. And then to round out the UFC, mate, going to have a little Moldy. Moldy's been good to us so far, 2 of 2 on UFC. So we're going to have 2 units on Nico Price to beat Alex Oliveira. Price is tough. I do think he'll drop the first round, but Alex Oliveira has shown he has cardio issues. He won't be able to keep up the Price. Price is relentless. Like, he will keep coming. He'll probably drop the first round and then come back and win the next 2. Probably win by decision, but it'll be a comfortable decision. Second leg is going to be no distance in the main event between Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker. I am a little bit worried this is going to be a bit of a standoff. It's got all the hype, all the fireworks, both of the guys. But as we know, sometimes that can lead to they're both wary of the other one in the fight. But the key here is 5 rounds. If it was a 3-round fight, I'd stick clear. I don't think either of them will have the patience to keep their distance for 5 rounds. And I think Santos will get that check left hook on Johnny Walker and win by knockout. But we're just going to take no distance in the Moldy. And then to round the Moldy out, we're going to go back to Casey O'Neill. Not by sub, but it's going to take a head-to-head in case she does get that knockout decision. She should win regardless. So we've got Nico Price, Casey O'Neill, and no distance in the main event. We're getting $3.03 on Neds and have 2 units on that. And to round my card out, mate, I've got a half a unit left. I thought, what better way than give the punters another weekend Moldy? We didn't have a success last weekend with the Super Saturday, but this one's just a little one of redemption. All my top picks for the weekend, and we'll see how we go. So I've gone very elegant to place in the Turnbull. As I touched on earlier, she was going to be in there. I do think she'll win, but I was going to play it safe for place. If she doesn't place, then something's gone really wrong. Flemington race to number 8 Gunstock to place. Again, think it'll be winning. It's probably my pick of the day at Flemington, but I'm not too keen on taking it as a standout. Under 37.5 in the NRL Grand Final, as touched on. Jamie Malarkey to win, and the City bet builder of both teams to score and both teams to get a card Gonna have half a unit on that at $11.12 on 365, and I'll as you did last week on the socials, we'll have little posts up to let you follow that along, so you don't have to listen to me ramble. And that rounds out my 20 units, mate, and my European wrap up.
Mate, I'm just happy that you've got me a bet from breakfast oats all the way to Oasis kebab. That's all I'm after. I'm going to swing you, though, a question without notice, put you on the spot a bit here. Anthony Joshua last week did get beat there. Fury now, it's all up in the air. AJ doesn't have those belts. Do you see AJ coming back from this, or do you see him just sort of slipping away into the abyss?
AJ's got nothing to come back from. Shout out Aaron Conway. We were both high on Osik last week, made quite some money off Osik. Like, AJ, good fighter. He's UK. He's overhyped. As a typical Pommy sports star he's overhyped. He's technically not great. He doesn't have the knockout power. He can just talk and he looks good. That's it. That fight's not lost, though. Ideally, Devontae gets that knockout on Fury in a couple of weeks. You've got Fury and AJ coming off a loss. They may have some sort of bout with no belts. I don't think the belts will play a massive factor. No matter where they go, belts or no belts, they'll sell out anything. I mean, they were talking about being on a super yacht in the UAE at some stage, a boxing match on that. So I'm happy it happened. I'm sick of seeing the same fighters in that division over and over. Usyk is probably my pick of the division, and I think we have a refreshed division now. So pretty keen on that. Pretty keen on Fury and Devontae. I think Devontae may shock a few people this time after an absolute whitewash last fight. And the one that I was keen for on Monday, but once again, it's pushed back another 2 weeks. We've got Lopez and our Australian boy, Cambosis. He was my 5-unit play at $7 for this week, but it's been pushed back another 2 weeks. So the punters will have to wait 2 more weeks for that one, but we'll be going in large on Cambosis because it should be near a pick 'em fight. He's going to take blood. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Get on the early markets there as soon as they come up, guys, before you hear us ramble. But look, for a question without notice, I'll give you the tick. We'll give you that one. But look, I'd insert a drum roll here, but we do not have the funds after 0 from 3 on the Fleeks 50. But it is that time of the week. We've got old Mitchy Salter this week giving us a bit of a hand from SS Racing. I know they've got some shares in a couple of nice little interesting horses. I know one goes around next Friday night, hopefully, at the Valley. Boom Sara got a win last week, fortnight ago, I think it was now. Just a real front-running type. But the boys there, Mitchy's helped us out here with a leg. He's gone Gravina in the last at Sydney. The Cummings horse, I had a bit of a chat to him today. He couldn't join us, but he said he's potted old Rach a little bit of late on top, but he thinks that she's sort of hit her straps a bit after that nice midweek win she had on top. Thinks it'll just peel out at 300 and be too strong. And at 360, I like his style there with a little bit of juice to our flukes. I know I'm going a lot shorter this week, just to try and get off the nudie run, to be honest. But I'll let you hit this with your leg first.
Yeah, mate, I'm just taking Penrith head-to-head. They've blown out a bit. We're getting $1.74 head-to-head. So I was going to take the line, but I don't think there's enough juice in it between $1.74 to $1.90 for 3.5. This covers like you called if it goes to Golden Point. So I'm just going to take Penrith head-to-head, mate, for my leg. Keep it nice and safe for the punters.
And look, I'll go last because all the pressure's on me because, let's be honest, I haven't been pulling the weight around here and I think upper management are just about to give me the flick. So I'm going to have to pull my finger out this week. I'm going to go on my best bet with Space Boy, but I'm going to just take him to place. I think, yes, it's short. Yes, I'm probably being a bit of a cat, but I think I've got caught with my hand in the cookie jar a couple too many times now on the Flukes 50. So I'm just going to play it short. We've gone Neds this week, I believe, Mitchie. What have they given us?
Yeah, mate. Well, they've robbed us of a few cents of the $10, mate. We're getting $9.97 for that multi of Penrith to win, Spaceboy to place, and Gravina to win.
Did we have a boost at any point there?
We did have a boost, mate.
Ripper, what did we get?
Punters may not, so they get $9.97. If not, if you do have a boost, we're getting $10.88.
Beautiful. Look, $10.88. I'm happy. I know I've gone the shortest, but I just want to get off the board. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of letting the team down here, and I'm feeling the pressure from you from midweek texts. So I've gone short. Hopefully, all you guys out there can get on this weekend. Remember, always gamble responsibly. Always gamble in between your means. We're big on that here because we've got home loans and car loans and things that I'd rather pay off than have people calling me for. But hopefully this week does pay off the car loan and the home loan. Mitchie, it's been a pleasure. Looking forward to a great weekend of sport with you, mate. And here's to another week.
Yep. Good luck to all the punters out there, mate. As you said, gamble responsibly and hopefully, mate, I'm shooting for 4 or 4, so hoping to stay in that green and hoping to see you back with me.
Mate, I've got a little bit to claw up, but we'll get there. But what you guys can do at home too, don't forget, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the works there. Just slowly build that stuff, guys. We're coming and look out. So have a good weekend. Enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed at home. I know we have fun each week having a bit of a shit stir with this. And good luck.
Thanks, mate. Good to talk to you.
Cheers.